A lot of you watching this or listening to this right now, you are interested in making more money, right? That is one of the pillars of a successful life, I believe, is becoming financially abundant. Because if you don't, you're going to get continually punished. Alex, what does that have to do with me making my first $100,000 in 2024? Or what does it have to do with, making my first $1 million or getting my first income producing real estate asset? I'll tell you what it has to do with it. Everything. What's going on, everybody? Hey, this is Alex Morton, and welcome to the Alex Morton Show. I want to first off say thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend a little bit of that time with me. Listen, my promise is this. On this show, we're going to dive deep, and I mean super, super deep, into not just creating massive financial success, but really building a great life. So I'm 34 years old right now, but I got to tell you, I've been an entrepreneur and really somebody interested in why some people succeed while other people fail my entire life. I grew up in a very small town in Bexley, Ohio, and growing up, we were right in the middle. We were in the middle class America. There were rich people over here. There were people suffering from poverty over here. And even when I was a little kid, I was always interested in why this family could go take 5 to 6 vacations a year and go eat at nice steakhouses and order seafood towers. And when mom dropped those kids off to school, it was in a Range Rover, or back then a big Mercedes, SUV. And over here, these people didn't even know what a vacation was, right? So I was always interested in, what makes people tick? What causes humans to do certain things, think certain ideas, feel certain emotions, and obviously take certain actions that give them the result of their life. So if you're watching this right now, or you're listening to this right now in your car, or at the gym, or on your commute back home in a train, I'm telling you guys right now, you want more out of life. You may want to make more money than you're currently making. You may want to get into better, shape, gain more lean muscle mass, lose body fat, right? Maybe you want to find your purpose. Maybe you want to build a stronger sense of desire. Whatever you want in your life, I'm going to give you the blueprint, the strategies, and the mindset principles that allowed me to go from middle to upper middle class America. And now today, I've now traveled to over 77 countries around the world and actually been paid a lot of money to teach people how to be, do, and have everything that they desire. So you might be saying, well, I don't know you from the milkman. Why are you qualified, to teach me anything? Well, I just said I've trained over 1 million people in over 77 countries around the world. I earned my first $1 million at age 24. I've earned 30 million now before I turned 30. And when I look at my life, is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I still sin on a daily basis? Probably, for sure. But I am a person that has become obsessed with this constant, never-ending obsession about growth. And I've learned some things along the way that I know with 100% certainty you can absolutely benefit from. So for this first episode, I want to cover some rules to the game. When I look at business, when I look at success, remember, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. What does that mean? That means success really equals whatever you want it to equal. Okay, I've been in, impoverished countries like, parts of Ecuador, in Brazil, or places in Egypt, right, where an extra $400 to $500 a month is a big deal, and that is success. I've been in places like Dubai or Beverly Hills where, kids' parents are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So success over there means something different. I want you to define what success means to you, because we're about to go on a journey, okay? The Alex Morton Show, we're going to be doing this, guys, every couple of weeks. You're going to get new information, new episodes, new content on how you can absolutely change your life for the better. But before we get into any of that, you need to decide, hey, this is what success means to me, okay? There are rules to business, there are rules to success, but you need to first say, hey, this is what success is to me. See, when I was 18 years old and getting started in, real entrepreneurship. I was going to Arizona State University, right? At 18, I left cold, rainy, wet Ohio. I moved to Arizona to go to ASU, and I saw a TV show called $1 Million Listing on Bravo TV. And my mom actually called me. She said, hey, I want you to watch this show tonight. There's some young guys out there making money in real estate, driving nice cars, and they dress like you, they talk like you. Go check out this real estate thing. I didn't know anything about real estate, but I was excited about the fact that I could be my own boss, set my own time, set my own income, and start my journey in really having a chance to make a lot of money, And if you're listening to this right now, don't let anybody make you feel bad about wanting to become, rich and or wealthy. Right now in America, in Europe, all parts of the world, people try to demonize success. People try to make people feel bad about wanting to make money and wanting to get wealthy, or driving a Ferrari or Rolls Royce, or living in a penthouse in Miami or Dubai. You cannot let other people make you feel bad about wanting to build a great life for you, your family, and your future family, okay? When I was 18, I wanted to make some money to retire my mom and dad. I knew my dad was getting stressed out at work. They owned a pretty large insurance agency, and my dad was getting heart palpitations, and my mom was stressed out about it. And I said, you know what? As the man of the family, right, and even at 18 years old, I wanted to make money, okay, to help retire my mom and dad. So back then, success to me was making some extra money, right? Having some extra, liquor money on the weekends, having some extra money to maybe road trip to LA on the weekends, right? And making some extra money to one day be able to help retire my mom and dad. So what is success to you? What are the 5 things that you are going to define in your life and get clarity on, and say, you know what, when I accomplish these 5 things right here, I'm going to feel as if I am a success. So now that that's out of the way, let's start to talk about some of the rules on business. A lot of you watching this or listening to this right now, you are interested in making more money, right? That is one of the pillars of a successful life, I believe, is becoming financially abundant. Because if you don't, you're going to get continually punished every single day in your life. You may not think you are, but you are, ladies and gentlemen, because when you have a family one day, a wife, a husband, some kids, taking care of grandma and grandpa, they got to eat. You got to eat. Are you able to purchase organic foods, non-GMOs, non-chemical sprayed, bullshit that causes potentially, cancer and heart disease and all these problems, right? Money is a tool. Money is a vehicle to live a better life, right? Period. End of story. Okay, when you have kids one day, my wife and I, we don't have kids today yet. However, we're going to do that, very, very soon. Here's the deal. Are you going to be able to afford to send your kids to private schools, maybe even homeschooled? A lot of the stuff they're teaching in California and New York City in these public school systems is trash. It's nonsense. They are literally making kids feel bad about, being kids, and teaching them, rich people are bad, and, it's okay to be average, and it's okay to be mediocre, right? So you need to make some dinero, euros, pesos, US dollars, and yen. You need to get your money right. So let's cover right now a couple of the rules of success. Because this is what I figured out, right? When you know the rules to a game, you can then potentially beat the game. Growing up, if you knew the rules, when you played Monopoly, or you played, blackjack or Texas Hold'em poker like we did in high school back in the day, when you knew the rules, right, then you could play the game a little bit better. A lot of you listening to this right now, you don't know the rules that are already set up in society, right? Remember, I've been doing business. I've been earning, millions of dollars, right, for a very long time. And I know you don't have to be special to do this, because I am not the smartest person on the planet, right? I had a 2.9 GPA at Bexley High School. I applied to Indiana University. They told me no. I applied to Ohio State. They told me no. I applied to Oklahoma University, right? They put me on a wait list, and then they told me no. I applied to Arizona State, and they said, listen, man, if you have oxygen in your lungs and you have a heartbeat in your chest, you are accepted to ASU. You see, some of the things we've been taught and programmed are just absolutely false. A lot of you right now, you've been told you have to come from a certain type of family to become rich and wealthy. You've been told you have to have a certain, maybe even skin color, or believe in a certain religion to become rich and wealthy. But I've worked with enough people from enough countries, cultures, backgrounds, sexes, economic, financial situations to know if you understand the rules of financial literacy and success, you, my friend, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you identify as something in between, it really doesn't matter. You can go out there and win and accomplish all of your dreams and all of your goals. So the first rule is, we kind of already talked about it a couple minutes ago, but you have to get clear on the life you want to create. You see, when I was 15, 16 growing up, I remember watching, music videos on MTV, right? There was a show after school that always came on. It was called TRL, right? And it was like the top 10 music videos for the day. And I remember watching, Diddy and Jay-Z and, Drake and, back in the day, Tyga when he was first coming up, and seeing, Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Bentleys and Rolls Royces and, mansions and villas and private jets. And I didn't even know what these things really were because I never really saw too many of them in my firsthand experiences growing up in my environment. But I said, I don't know what that is, but that's what I want. I got clear on the life I wanted to create. When I was 19 or 20 and LinkedIn came out, I made a LinkedIn profile and I said, I am becoming a millionaire before age 25. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Okay, but I knew what I wanted and I knew why I wanted it. You've got to get rule number one right now. Get clear on the life you want to create. Rule number two. Okay, I love this one, right? Growing up, I played sports. A lot of you listen to this right now. Some of you might have been competitive athletes. I was okay in high school football. I became captain of the team senior year because probably my leadership ability. It wasn't because I was, big, strong, and fast, being 5'9" and a half and, back then probably 195 pounds, I wasn't really, making big moves in the Division I recruiting for college football, but I became one of the captains because I had great leadership ability. But here's rule number two. Ready? How you do anything is how you do everything. What does that mean? That means this: whatever you're doing, washing the dishes, taking out the trash, making prospecting calls for your insurance agency, or your door-to-door business selling pest control or home alarm systems, or maybe it's a friendship, or maybe it's a marriage, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's working out at the gym when nobody sees you but you. How you do anything is how you do everything. Why is that so important? Well, you're conditioning your mind for success. Like, if everything you do, from tying your shoes, if you tie your shoes like a champion, the rest of your day, week, month, and year, you're going to have this champion mentality. Some of you may say, Alex, what does that have to do with me making my first $100,000 in 2024? Or what does it have to do with, making my first $1 million or getting my first income producing real estate asset? I'll tell you what it has to do with it. Everything. Because how you do anything is how you do everything, right? We have like an unspoken rule in our house where my wife will cook dinner and then I'm going to do the dishes. I take the trash out. If you saw me take out the trash, you would say, holy shit, this guy's a champion. If you saw me do the dishes, right, the way I obsessed about getting every piece of food off of every single plate, you would say, damn, man, this dude right here, he's a champion. So everything you do in your life, just if you're going to do it, be good. And if you're going to be good, you might as well tap in to greatness, right? You're going to condition your subconscious mind to go out there and compete at a high level and only accept, guess what? Greatness. That's it. And remember, it has nothing to do with your grade point average, your SAT score. Guys, I took Spanish 1 3 times in high school, and I still can't speak a lot of Spanish, okay? I was in the slow math year after year after year. My little sister, who's a lot more, higher IQ than me, she did better on the SAT than I did, and I was 4 grades ahead of her growing up in the school system, right? This success and living a great life, in a purpose-driven life, and not just making an income, but making an impact all over the world, it has nothing to do with the grades you receive. It has nothing to do with what your teachers, your professors, even your mommy and daddy told you about when you were growing up as a little kid. When you know the rules to the game of life, the game of business, the game of success, the game of you becoming a multi-millionaire before you're 35 or 40, guess what? It has to do with living your life a certain way, and these rules can help you get there, okay? Number 3, this is a very important one. Only listen to people that have what you want. And before I piss off some of the parents listening to this, okay, everything I talk about and speak about, it's not some stuff I read in some book. I've read a lot of books, but this stuff does not come from, books or other people's seminar. This is from my own life experiences, and these are from, mindset principles and strategies that have helped me build a pretty extraordinary life in the eyes of a lot of people. To me, I haven't even scratched the surface on the things I want to create and contribute to society, okay? But when you listen to people that have what you want, what does that really mean? That means if you're listening to this right now, you have goals, you have dreams, you have things you want to do. Maybe you want to become, an international best-selling author. Maybe you want to go make music videos for the next Taylor Swift or Drake album. You want to go make movies, whatever it is you want to do. There's probably somebody out there that is already doing what you want to do at a very, very high level. When people say, well, Alex, how did you go from dorm room to millionaire? That was the title of my first book, right? How did I do it? This is my answer. I found people in a specific industry I was in that were making $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 a month, and I studied their formula. That's all I've ever done was study people that have what I want, and then guess what? I listen, I apply. I listen, I apply. This podcast, the Alex Morton Show, right? It's not for you just to be entertained. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not some, a circus clown. No, I'm here to give you real, raw, truth information about how to build a better life for you, your family, and your future family. That's it. Point blank. So you need to go out there and find mentors. You need to find people that have what it is you want. There are people in your company, in your industry right now that have already made $100,000 a year, $100,000 a month. Some of you probably have people that you know in your same field that have earned $100,000 per week. Go out there and find their formula. Now remember, I'm not saying go find one guy or one girl and they're your only mentor for your entire life. No, that'd be a dumb idea, right? You're not going to go ask Tiger Woods, how to have a successful marriage because the guy was divorced, maybe with golf, not with marriage. You're not going to go ask Taylor Swift to be your heart surgeon tomorrow because she's not a heart surgeon. You guys get what I'm getting at here? So I have different mentors in my life. I have different coaches in my life that have the desired result in a desired category. One of the people I look at, newly married, I've been married now 3 years, going on 4 years, right? So I watch other successful businessmen who also have successful marriages, and I say, okay, what can I learn from an Ed Mylett? What can I learn from a Grant Cardone? What can I learn from my friend Rob Dyrdek out in LA that's done amazing things and looks like an amazing marriage and an amazing father? So find people that have what you want. And this is a quote that I think I came up with back in 2012. If you say what people say and you do what people do, eventually you will get what people have. And I can give you so many examples of this, right? The late and great Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, one of my childhood heroes. There are interviews of Kobe and they're saying, Kobe, why do you warm up just like Jordan? Why is your free throw routine just like Jordan? Why do you fake left and go right just like Jordan? Why are your mannerisms just like Jordan? Kobe said, what do you mean? He said, my goal was to become the greatest ever. Of course, I emulate Michael Jordan, who is the greatest ever. You get what I'm getting at here? Okay, a lot of you right now, you take advice from the wrong people. You listen to people that don't have the results that you want. You get started in a business. You get your insurance license or you study for your real estate exam. You get it. And then you have cousins and uncles and, homies from high school that make fun of you for going after your goals and your dreams. And then you let that infiltrate your mind and you let them talk you out of what you really want to accomplish in your life. Only listen to people that have what you want. And here's a side note. Just because somebody has your same last name doesn't mean they know what's best for you when it comes to that specific business or idea or philosophy. What do I mean by that? Well, when I got started in direct sales at 21, I was in real estate at 18. I got into direct sales at 21. The majority of people told me it wasn't going to work. The majority of people told me it was some type of scheme or scam or pyramid thing, right? But the majority of those people had no money. The majority of those people were drinking and getting high every night with $2 in their bank account. And the majority of those people, they didn't know what the hell they were talking about anyway, right? And at 34, right, I can look back and say, wow, now I realize, but I know a lot of you watching this, you're younger than 34. You're 18, 19, 22, 24. Don't make the same mistakes that me and a lot of my counterparts did growing up in the entrepreneurial world in our 20s. Don't take advice from people that don't have the results that you're looking for, okay? And the last rule for success for this opening episode, you guys, number four is make personal development a routine in your daily life. Now, let's talk about personal development here for a second. You know, growing up in elementary, middle school, and high school, right, we were given a formal education, right? And they say a formal education will help you make a living. Self-education has the potential to make you fortunes, right? A lot of people think, oh, I have a 4-year degree from Arizona State or Ohio State or, Pepperdine University, or, you walk into a doctor's office and they have their PhD piece of paper on their wall. I'm not crapping on education. I have a 4-year degree, and when young people ask me my opinion on college, a lot of times I say, go to college and network, right? If you're going to go major and want to go be involved with being an engineer, being a lawyer, being a doctor, being a surgeon, right? But if you want to be a business person, I think the game of entrepreneurship, you can go get a world-class education on YouTube University, or go understudy and work for somebody that's in that field already doing exceptionally well. So personal development is really self-education, right? That's where the riches are, right? And if you study massively successful people, guys, they will always, a lot of times talk about, people like Tony Robbins, people like Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, Earl Nightingale, Les Brown. You've heard some of these names before, right? I'm telling you, you have to make personal development, almost an obsession, right? Almost an obsession. Because right now in today's world, 2024 and beyond, you turn on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, NBC. That's all bullshit. Most of the people in your family, they're ignorant. They're not bad people. Ignorant means they don't understand. Most people in your family, they don't understand how to build an exceptional life. Why? Because they got to go to work tomorrow on a Monday and clock in and clock out, right? They don't understand how to build wealth. The wealthiest people I know, they hardly even work. A lot of you would say, how does that even make sense? Well, we're going to talk about that, in later episodes. But I'm telling you guys right now, you have to make personal development a priority and honestly, potentially an obsession, right? What is that? It's the books. It's the audios. It's the podcast. It's the podcast you're listening to right now. It's the videos of new information that is proven to get a specific result. That's the deal, right? When I'm driving in my car, man, I'll tell you what, I'm listening to other shows, other podcasts. People say, well, Alex, why do you listen to Ed Mylett so much? Well, I don't know. He's worth $800 million. He's owned like 3 or 4 private jets. He has houses and mansions all over the world. He's physically fit and in shape. He's been happily married for decades. He looks like an outstanding father. That's why I listen to Ed Mylett. See, you get in your car and you're turning on every Bad Bunny, Drake, Maluma song in the world. Nothing's wrong with that. I love music. In Miami, in our house in Miami, I'm neighbors with a lot of these reggaeton artists, and Birdman lives over there, and Anuel, Maluma, Messi's got a unit over there in Miami, right? I'm not bragging. I'm not boasting. I don't care. I want to get through your mind and pierce your subconscious mind so I can drop in these buckets of information that say, you know what? I've got to do a better job of reading every day, listening every day, watching every day, so I can build a better belief system in my mind, so then I can go out there into the harsh, nasty, disgusting world we live in. By the way, it is a lot of those things right now. If you tend to look around. Homeless is going insane. People are flooding through the border all over the place. I was in LA yesterday. I can't even believe the things I'm seeing with my own eyes. I'm in Vegas right now. It's hard for me to drive, our pretty nice car, but, still, it's hard for me to drive to CVS anymore without people begging me for stuff or, people running across the street and just acting like insane. It's just, it's an insane world out there. You must protect the most precious thing you have, and that is your mind. And you do that by programming it the right way. And you do that by getting obsessed with personal development. So again, guys, welcome to the Alex Morton Show. Okay, if you've gotten value from this episode, share this with as many people as possible, because the plan is this. I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna do my part in giving you the right information, the right inspiration, the right strategies you can implement into your life right now to change it just like that.